Okay, some of you want to know basically what I do about making my bottles. Right, first of all, get your basic colours in your tray. These are all acrylic paints, I don't use any different, and I pick the basic colours I want. Obviously this is my poppy design everybody knows about, and very, very small paintbrushes. I don't ever use anything sort of bigger than this. This way you've got better control of what you're doing. You get a plain wine bottle, make sure all the glue and everything's off. And then what you do is you rough out the design. I literally freehand the design. First of all, I just put one basic layer on the bottle where I want the paint to go. That gives you a bit of grounding for painting, otherwise your paint won't stay on. Let it dry. When it's nearly dry, then you can go over it with at least one other colour. In this case I'm using cadmium red, and I give it one other colour. That just gives you a really nice thick base. Now, when that colour's dry, as I say, cadmium red all over just to get a lovely thick base like this. Now, when this colour's dry, basically what I do now is I start interacting while it's still wet with other colours. Now, this is a rose madder, which is like a slightly darker red, which I just do for the shadowing, and I put it on and I drag it. And that will then just drag very nicely into the cadmium and makes a nice, because you're using a thin brush, streaky effect. Now when you've done that all the way around, which I've already previously done on this one, just to give you a darker centre, my then famous recipe, as they say, as you can probably see from my palette, is fluorescent orange. Now I use Reeves fluorescent orange because I particularly like the colour and the density of it. And it needs to be thick, undiluted. And I literally just drag little dots of it onto the cadmium. And that literally just streaks into that beautifully. Very difficult to show you on here. But you just streak it in while it's all wet. So it's all done wet on wet. Here's one I haven't done yet. But look, so little bits of orange. I just literally dab it on around the edge. And I streak it in. Like that, which gives you that lovely petal effect, but also that lovely vibrant orange effect that sings out on the bottle. Now this needs to go on really thick, and obviously the thicker the more 3D effect you get. And again, down the bottom there, that petal's almost done. See the vibrant orange coming through? Don't take it all the way to the centre because you've got that rose madder there just for a bit of density and darkness. Now, bottom of the petal, one little dabs of fluorescent orange around the edge, then just drag it in. As long as they're all sort of aiming towards the centre, there's no right or wrong way, but just don't go crosswards, just make it look like a petal. And again, in like that. And obviously what you do that all the way around so you get the whole flower done. And then we'll continue later with the centre. Okay, now we're going to do the centre. I'm afraid the camera's flaring a bit on the fluorescent orange, but we'll try and show you what I mean. It's still wet. That doesn't matter one jot. I get the black paint and we go into the centre and we just dot. Don't try and rub it in because you'll just mix the red in with it. Just get really thick and dot on top of the red. So you get a nice round circle in the middle. Just make sure you cover all the red over. And then get a slightly smaller brush. Pick up some of the black paint with it. And just do that little seedy effect that you get all around the edge, which goes around like this. Now, I'm into my gold paint. This is purely my own design. You can do what you please. I do this just to pick out the edge of the leaf like this. A little bit of gold paint. Only a cheap gold paint. You don't need to buy an expensive, but just make sure you put it on in a daub. All acrylic paints. Just remember that. All acrylics. And I go around the whole thing. Show you some more. Okay, so that's the poppy finished. Obviously you then go on to put your greens and your blues. Now this is one I finished painting yesterday. which again, you've just got your greens and your blues, etc. Now when that's all finished and been painted like this, give it a day, let it dry. Then we have the polyurethane gloss varnish. And it is polyurethane so that you get a really hard finish. It's not just a picture varnish. Go over the whole thing with polyurethane, a very small brush. What I will tell you now is do not put it on thick because that will make the acrylic paint run and crack. I use a fan brush, very similar to that, well it is one like that, and just put it on and just put it on very thinly. So you just cover it. If you want to give it another layer, make it shinier, do it after it's dried. But if you put it on too thick first, the acrylic will slip.